All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Monday. Is it Monday already? Oh my God, it's Monday. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Everybody stayed socially distant. Everybody stayed safe, stayed healthy, washed your hands, wore a mask. Guys, we got to make sure that everything stays cool here. We just got notice from the mayor today that we are rolling back some indoor, not dining, but indoor drinking, and that might affect some of the clubs. So be sure to wear your masks, stay socially distant. We have a very low rate right now. We do not want to roll all the way back to phase 3. We're in phase 4 right now, so let's make sure we all stay safe, stay healthy. Andy's is open, Greenleaf is open, and the Jazz Showcase is doing music Thursday through Sunday. But call ahead if you're going on the weekend because of this new ban. I'm not sure what they're going to end up doing with the music venues because Dave Gemolo over at the Green Mill doesn't serve food. Jazz Showcase, Wayne and Joe, they do not serve food. So part of the deal that they announced this morning, if you haven't seen it, is that any bar that does not serve food can no longer have people inside drinking. So I can't imagine how the Green Mill is going to have live music and nobody drinking in there. So I would imagine that hopefully somebody at the city comes to their senses and says, well, wait a minute. Okay, the music venues can stay open, but let's keep our fingers crossed on that. So be sure to support everybody. Head over to all of those venues, but call first before you head over to make sure that they have, first off, have reservations and they have space. But second of all, make sure that they're open and make sure they are still happening. So hopefully we get out of this situation sooner rather than later. But you know the deal. So let's all work together here to make this happen. Now, of course, I'm Mike Jeffers, Chicago Jazz Magazine, ChicagoJazz.com, and you are watching Chicago Music Revealed. I have no idea why I didn't say that first, but I got on a tangent. As you all know, everybody that watches and listens to the show, that sometimes happens. And of course, I am also the entertainment director and program director at the soon-to-be opening Epiphany Center for the Arts, 201 South Ashland Avenue, right there, Ashland and Adams, right in the West Loop. We are going to be announcing a live music program that starts in September 1, up in the Sanctuary, COVID-safe protocols, and a whole lot more. So stay tuned for all of that. Of course, head over to epiphanyshy.com, drop us a line, hit us up so that we can make sure you get all the information when we go live with all of the great announcements that we are going to do. Again, epiphanyshy.com. Now, talking about COVID-19 and talking about the pandemic and talking about musicians not performing and clubs not opening up and people being in trouble. My guest today, Rudy Royston, is an accomplished drummer, world-renowned drummer, and he recorded an album, but he never released it. He recorded it in 2013. He decided to put this out and donate all the proceeds along with Greenleaf Music to Music Cares, which is an organization that helps musicians in distress, and God knows there's a lot of musicians in distress. So, Rudy, I'm going to bring you on right now. How are you, Rudy? Thanks so much for jumping on for a few minutes, and it's great to finally meet you. I've listened to you play a million times on recordings, and once or twice actually in Chicago, but it's nice to actually meet you virtually, if nothing else.
Yeah, man. Great to meet you, man.
Man,
Good to
so
be here too. Thanks for having me on.
definitely, I'm honored to have you on, and I'm really excited to talk about this recording because us drummers, first of all, we got to stick together, number one.
Yeah.
But, during this kind of time, to be able to put something out like this and actually have the forethought to put something out and donate 100% of the proceeds to an organization that helps musicians in distress. Let's just talk a little bit about. I mean, you're a traveling, touring musician. I mean, you're probably playing heavily touring probably in the summer, especially with all the different festivals and everything, which have now canceled. So how
Mm.
have you been coping through COVID-19, and how did you decide to take the proceeds from this recording and donate it to an organization like Music Cares?
Man, it's been rough. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning in February, a lot of us, well, March for me, was kind of in shock a bit. I think just to see all your gigs just disappear
Yeah.
and not know how, what's going to happen in the next month and not understand what was going to go on. So it's been rough. But you, I try not to panic. I always try to just say, let's see what happens. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I've played a little bit, just practicing a little bit, and because for a second, like practicing was making me more depressed because I wanted to play. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm just practicing. It's just like, man. But just settling down a little bit and just practicing and working on some other stuff and gardening and photography or whatever, just different stuff like that. But yeah, and that period of March and was kind of rough because we didn't know what was gonna happen, and just seeing all the clubs close and everyone's
Yeah.
just like, man, what's going on? And right at the beginning of that, applied for a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for like Louis Armstrong, had a grant. Music Cares had a grant, although I didn't know at the time. I was just applying for everything that I could see. And about at the beginning of April, a lot of things came in. So it was just comforting. It
Yeah.
was just like, man, okay, I got a little leeway now. It's like, okay, I can make it at least till July. You know what I mean? Like, so things will be cool at least until then. But just talking to all of my friends, and people who we all know, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
man, we're all hurting. Like all of us are out of work, and just knowing that it felt good to get some help. It's like, man, I wanted to be able to help someone else,
Yeah.
to get that, to give back to that. Because again, we were talking on the phone. I know the stress that we're all under. I'm hearing it in everyone's voice.
Hmm.
And so, I just remembered, it's like, man, well, you have this record, it's like it's been sitting there and you're wondering what to do with it. And for a long time, because, we're drummers, it's just like, oh, it's like if I put this out, who's going to buy it? Like, what am I doing? Do I
Yeah.
want to put
Right.
this out? Number one. And number two is just like people are going to hear everything I could play. You know what I mean? It's like, that's it, people. There's no more surprises. That's all. So it's just like, yeah, you know what? But I think it was good. It was good that for this time, it's just like, man, let's put this out, and people will give because it's going to a good cause, and then I can try to raise money for people, who might be hurting. And just talking, like I had about 5 friends in mind. It was just like, and a couple people who I didn't know, who my friends told me about, and it's just like, okay, I want to just try to give these people some money because they have families, like it's not like
Yeah.
just single guys in New York. It's like these people have families, and bills.
Mm-hmm.
But that got kind of hard because it's just like I don't know who to choose. You know what I mean? To really give all this any kind of money to. I'm thinking it maybe like $100. You know what I mean? Like I don't really know how to do this.
Yeah.
So I just when I asked Dave, I called Dave Douglas with Greenleaf, my label, his label, but I'm on it, and I just asked him, man, I have this drum record, or would you put it out, you know, put it out for me? We can I just want to donate the funds. And he's right away, he was just like, yeah, man, let's do that. Let's be on that. And I got uh, uh, my publicist, Girolamo, is on there.
Mm-hmm.
I got my mastering guy came back and kind of touched it up a little bit. His name is Kevin Blackler. So like everyone just kind of donated their time, and then we needed a place to give it. So I didn't know. I had to find an organization that would work. And so I was wondering how should I do this? Who would I give this money to? And when I was asking, I asked Ben Allison, who I always come to the Green Mill with when I come to
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. But I asked him, like, man, do you know? Because Ben is like the guy, he's like lobbying in D.C. and like he's like always he's kind of up on all of the music industry stuff. So he told me about Music Cares, and I didn't really know about much about them. But then I checked it out and talked to some musicians, and they were like, yeah, man, when I needed to go to the dentist one time, and they helped me out. And another guy was like, yeah, I needed money for a doctor. They helped me out. And then I read up on the kids thing with the Grammys they're associated with.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, this is maybe cool because I still didn't know. Like, I want to I want to give the money myself. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be like, here, dude. Like, But but then I got a check from them just out of the blue. It's just like Music Cares, like $1,000. I was like, oh, what? Okay, yeah. That's so
Wow.
they're actually they're doing the thing.
Yeah.
So that helped me just sort of decide on them. It's just like I think that's the place. So we decided on Music Cares because we know they have a good record and they're actually doing what they say with the money. they did it for me. I'm just one dude in Somerville, New Jersey. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like cool.
Isn't it amazing though? I mean, it's amazing that I mean, I didn't know about a lot of these different music organizations that help musicians because I never sought anything out, but like Music Cares, I mean, the help that they give to musicians, just not even during a pandemic, just like to your point, if somebody has to go to the dentist, I mean, a lot of people I think see people playing at all of these different festivals, all of these different venues and traveling and everything else, and they figure, oh man, these guys are set. Check that out, and check
Right,
this out and stuff.
right,
And no, you go to the dentist for a root canal, you are not set. You need to you need to get a little bit of help, and these organizations really are stepping up, I think, as much as they can, and they can only step up as much as they can depending on the amount of funding they have. So something like this, even though your original intent was be able to go knock on your buddy's door who's really in trouble and hand them $100 or hand them $100, at least this kind of pools the money together. And to me, with what you're doing, probably gets some musicians maybe even under puts them on the radar a little bit for Music Cares potentially, and then also makes people that are in need that didn't know anything about Music Cares aware of
yeah,
Music Cares. So it's helping a lot of different ways rather than plus the money that you're raising. So I love the idea that you picked out Music Cares or an organization like that because it really raises the awareness of not only what you're doing, your recording, and the fact that you're selling it to raise money, but also the organization itself. So
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
I mean, I became aware of it. I had no idea it existed. You know what I mean? And I've never really needed, much like that either. You know what I mean? But it's like behind every art, there's an organization. There are things that we just don't know. They're under the radar, but there's always help there, and there's something always going on for artists. You know, in the way of funding and donations and things like that. So it's like, man, it was really cool to be able to be a part of this one.
Well, and kind of on a side note too, every single year outside of the pandemic, you always hear about the government trying to cut the NEA and cut the
Right,
different funding and scale this back and cut music out of schools and all this stuff. And then you come into a pandemic where the entire industry shuts down. And now people are starting to miss that, I think. And people are starting to miss
yeah,
the live performance. And they're starting to also understand that 99% of the artists, the musicians, the painters, the sculptors, everybody are not getting rich. They're honing their craft to make civilization a better place. So
right.
hopefully, if there's a silver lining out of the pandemic, at least it brings awareness to the fact that, hey man, if you have a little bit to give, let's give it to some of these organizations to keep culture growing and keep creativity growing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bigger conversation, but I mean, just thinking about it, it's like, maybe that's something good that comes out of this whole thing. So,
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's the thing. Like, we're not, because you see, like us, like you said, we're traveling, or it's like, yeah, man, I got a gig in South Africa, I got to get here, I'm
right.
gonna go here, yeah, I'll be back in a month or whatever, and it's like, oh man, that's cool, and it's like, man, you don't understand. It's not for many of us. We do this because we can't help. We want to serve culture, people. We have to give this to people. We want to make the world better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just, and that's just a part of who we are. And the other part, we're driven to do it because we want to get better at this thing, this sticks and how do I make this? And you know what I mean? It's just the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing of it is just, that's the gratification from it. We're not rich. You know what I mean? The gratification comes when you come to the gig and like what we give you. You know what I mean? And we know that all that hard work that we did is paying off. We're inspiring you. We're giving you something because we're inspired. Even when
Mm-hmm.
we suck, I'm sorry. Yeah, you say, yeah. Even when we suck,
Yeah,
we're
go ahead.
inspired. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the part of it that I think now, like you're saying, I think people miss what we did a gig. I did a gig outside yesterday, like socially distanced gig, and
Mm-hmm.
you could just see it in people's faces. They were like, "Oh my God, I missed this." Like I walked by it on the way to Wendy's before, and now it's like, wait, I gotta stop and listen to this for a second. Like that kind of thing. Like just missing the whole life and the thing that makes us human.
Mm-hmm.
In this way, we're human in a lot of ways, but definitely in a way of culture and art and beauty and subjectivity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. So everybody should head over to Bandcamp. paNOptic.greenleafmusic.com. I've got it up here on the screen, and all the proceeds donate back to Music Cares. Also, I'm not sure of the exact website for Music Cares, but it's tied in with the Grammys. So if you do a Google search for Music Cares, I remember it comes right up, and I think you guys have a link right off
Yeah.
of the Bandcamp thing, right off of Greenleaf Music as well. Because I got a
And I think
couple
it's
comments that they
music.org,
wanted.
I think.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
yeah. So I got a couple comments asking how they can connect with Music Cares. So that's good. See, we're
Mm.
doing our part already here, sending
Yeah.
people over there. But
Yeah.
everybody should check out bandcamp.greenleafmusic.com, purchase the recording, and that gives money to Greenleaf. And, I love what you said is that the gratification, all of the work that the artist puts in is the gratification when people show up to listen and experience and consume the
Yeah.
artist. So
Yeah.
now, as a professional drummer to a professional drummer, here comes a professional transition in the
Cool.
media world where I'm going to ask you now, what was the inspiration and what was the gratification, and how did you come up with, first off, sitting down, where did you record this? 2013 is when you recorded it. So was it live in a club? Where did you record this? And what was the inspiration behind the original thought process of recording this?
Yeah, it was originally I recorded my band 303 was my first record with a
Mm-hmm.
band. I was scheduled to do it at Tedesco Studios in Paramus, New Jersey. It's a great studio. But we somehow mixed it up in double books. So the guy there, Tom Tedesco, said, "Man, just come back. I owe you. We'll do like 4 hours. I'll just give it to you whenever you want." So I went somewhere else and recorded the record. But I had 4 hours, and I knew it was like drum solo. That's gonna be the thing. So, because I'm not gonna pay some cats. It's just like, no, I'm gonna go in and just try this thing that's been on my mind for a while. Just to try.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times what we're checking out, what I'm checking out when I'm listening to music is all the music that's coming out of me, like just that I'm trying to emulate. Because a lot of my playing is I'm trying to emulate something, I'm trying to imitate something or create something or paint a picture or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so it's like, man, how, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of go see what that's like without any. It was important for me that I not have any loops or any electronics. Like I just want to just do this and just see if I can translate some of these stories and some of these pictures through just drums and cymbals. Because it gets easier for me if I put loops in, then you can hear you hear the vibe more when I'm creating. You're
Mm-hmm.
used to that. So yeah, I mean, and plus I've been practicing a lot, then playing with a lot of different people who were pulling that sort of thing out of me, like playing some with Bill Frisell, and he paints these beautiful pastoral pictures, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
he just plays all this stuff, and I'm like, how do I do this? And and just trying to mature as a drummer in that way, because before I'd been, really, I had just been playing a different way, real aggressive kind of. And I was trying to say, okay, dude, you're getting older. You want to try to, you want to get sweeter as you get older. You want to get better. So this was the way that I thought to do it. So I'm like, man, yeah, I want to try this. And I got these drums from Canopus. They signed me
Oh,
on, and I was just
nice.
like, yeah, and they
Nice.
sounded amazing. So I'm like, this is it. So I just wanted to go in the studio, and I said, don't plan what you're going to do. Have an overall picture, though. It's just like, I know I'm going to do these poems, and I know I'm going to do the stuff that I've been working on, which was just um, on the spot sort of painting of pictures. Like I didn't want to practice.
Right.
It's like when what comes to your head, play it like that. Like just play it and relate it, and then leave and go someplace else. So the whole session was straight. Like it was just I just played for like 3 hours straight, and then I went back later and listened and heard how I was where my mind was. It's like, oh yeah, I was thinking of this and I was thinking of that. And then I thought, well, you're thinking of four different things on this session. It's like
Mm.
you're kind of thinking of this, and this. So I kind of just arranged them to where they were, and sort of grouped them together. But like that. But I really wanted to be able to, play the drums and it not be a drum solo record. I wanted to make a solo drum record. These are
Right.
songs that I'm playing on the drums. They're not drum solos. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like it's great. Like the whole idea of melody and harmony for me just sort of transitions because you have melody. I'm thinking melody and I'm thinking harmony and I'm thinking of all the things of the song, but I'm thinking how other things translate into that. like if you think about it, if you hear a rhythm and it's only drums, and then you hear that rhythm again, that's the melody now.
Mm-hmm.
The rhythm becomes the melody. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
It's repetitive. It's a repetitive theme that you're
Right.
repeating. Yep.
Right. So now that's the melody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like things like that that I was trying to explore and say, like, okay, now what about harmony? How's that gonna happen? It's like, okay, well, if I come back to this bass drum figure and I come back to this bass drum figure while I'm playing these things over it, it's like, okay, that's harmony. You know what I mean? I'm thinking in
Yeah.
ways like that. And just the other ways. Like, how do I paint this picture? Like there's a city bus stop tune on there where it's just, you get on the bus, you ride to a stop, you stop, it goes off, you stop, next stop, you stop, So just how do you illustrate that, So I just kind of play a little and then stop, play a little, same thing, then stop,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. Like I'm playing, but there's something behind it so that it's not a drum solo.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just playing music on the drums. You just can't hear everything else that I hear.
Well, you know what though, there's a couple things, and I want to talk about a couple of these themes you and I talked about before we came live about the video because there's different words in that video. But I want to talk for a minute, talk a little bit about because right when you talked about when you got the new endorsement deal with that drum company, you got the drums. And
Mm,
I know as a drummer, but I want you to explain it. It's so important for the people that are listening. Every drum set sounds different. So when you get a drum set and you get a drum set that really sounds good, feels good, even you could sit behind 10 different drum sets. One of them is going to just feel like, man, this is like it. And that inspiration from being able to do that. And then when you hit the heads, the way the drumstick rebounds, the sound, the timbre, everything around it starts to inspire you in different ways. So this drum set that you played on for this recording, you must have had that connection with that drum set when you sat down because you've sat on drum sets where you've got to struggle to get some ideas happening here, man, because this just does
yeah,
not feel comfortable. You don't like the way the cymbal sounds, the way the drum sounds. So this must
yeah.
have been really inspiring when you sat down, which inspired you to start really creating and going outside of the normality to create this stuff, right? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, because first of all, like, just physically, sometimes just the touch or just the
Yep.
way the tom, you can't get it to lay right,
Mm-hmm.
or it's just, or the drum head, it's like it's a clear coated head with a dot. And it's just like, I don't want the dot. It's just, it makes it feel different. You know what I mean? This is something, it's all little things like that that you have to, they force you into becoming another drummer. Like if I get on this drum set and it sounds like this, so I can't play what I want to play because it's
Right.
not going to translate. So now I have to be another drummer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I have to go conjure up all of that stuff that I heard from the 70s, you know what I mean, when Harvey Mason and Steve Gadd was playing like heads with dots and you know what I mean? It's like, oh God. You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
like, all right. So now I got to play like that, which is cool because I'm still gonna have fun. I mean, it's great. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have fun imitating them and sounding horrible, but I'm not exactly gonna be myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, but when you get like these drums are that they do the opposite. When you sit and when I played them, it was like they sang back to me, and it was just like that is exactly what I wanted to hear when I played that. Like
Yeah.
that, and it felt exactly like I wanted it to feel. When I do this drum roll at like a pianissimo, I'm actually hearing the notes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing what I'm playing at this low volume because of the right drum head and the way the drum is built and the pressure inside of the drum is feeling good on the stick. You know what I mean? Like that,
Yep.
all of that stuff just felt soup when I played these drums. It was like these are like my soul. You know, this is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I feel when I play and what I hear when I play. So it's that's super important to be yourself. Like we're gonna sound good or as good as we can on any kit, but can you actually be yourself, 100% yourself? I mean, or do you have to be professional and go into the lexicon of your experience and know that you have to do something else? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like
Yep.
that was super inspiring about these drums. That's why I was I kind of rushed in. I got these drums like a month before. I was like, let's go to the studio now because they were just feeling so good. It's just not like I need to play on them for a while. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, this is it.
Yeah.
You know. And then I played them on like a jam session, like at Smalls. It wasn't Smalls, it was Smoke in New
Oh yeah.
York. I just went to a jam
Yep.
session, played. I was like, oh man, these are. What are these? You know, I was like, yeah. And then I was like bugging the dude, can I please endorse your yeah,
No,
yeah. So yeah,
I
it
mean
just
that,
felt really good.
and that's one of those things that I think a lot of musicians and a lot of casual music fans they don't understand that from a drummer standpoint. So that's why I wanted to talk you to talk about it because it's so important. And then when you're doing a solo recording like this, I mean it's all you. So it's so important to
Yeah,
have something like that. So let's
right.
talk a little bit about so you've got a minute 50 promo video for PaNOptic, and we should tell everybody they got to head over to Greenleaf, bandcamp.greenleafmusic.com to check that out.
Mhm.
But during the promo video, you've got still images, and then you have different words that pop up: inspirations, illustrations, meditations, poems, tributes, sacred, and moments. And talk a little bit about what those mean because I love they worked really well with what those photos were, but I had a feeling they probably meant something in the context of the entire recording as well.
Mm. Yeah, they did something with the entire, but it was cool how when I was making that video, it was like everything was sort of blending together with what was going on now, you know, with what was
Yeah.
going on with the protests and it's just like, oh, this is all, it all just sort of worked together, and it was like this is um, okay, you know, this is cool, you know, like this is what in essence, this is what I'm meaning, whatever that was 7 years ago. It's like it's
Mm-hmm.
still the same essence of the thing, like you know, like and so just the things that inspire, you know, just that's a for me whatever that is, something I hear or something that's visual, you know, it's like how that's something that I wanted to sort of give tribute to in the moments, you know, moments that things change. You know what I mean? Like on a couple tunes, there's a moment where everything changes. Like there's like Jack, the tribute to Jack DeJohnette. There's a moment in the beginning where it's just cymbals and then it just snaps to just sticks on cymbals. First it's mallets, then it just goes to sticks. Like it just
Yeah.
there's a change, you know. And I'm hopeful that that's the change that we are experiencing now with Black Lives Matter. You know,
Mm.
like we're going and then there's a change, there's an event and something really a real change, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that and like tributes, you know, tributes to some not just drummers, but you know, some great the people who I at that time are really influencing everything that I was doing, a lot of things that I was doing. Um, I think Monk is on there and Bill Frisell's on there, Ornette's on there, and then some Max Roach and Elvin.
Mm-hmm.
Elvin's first because Elvin's everything for me. Elvin's the man.
Yeah, he's the man, all right. That's for sure.
Right. Oh man, but yeah, and you know, and then there's the the sacred part. You know, there's a section in there of sacred music, which is kind of always part of just who I am. Grew up playing in church, and that whole the way I flow through music, like I can play music now, even for people here. I'm laying a track, and they'll be like, "Man, okay, yeah, like you shaped the tune, like, and you don't
Mm.
even you're not even playing with us." It's like I can because I can tell you want more energy here. You want me to do. You want this here. You know that whole intuitive sort of listening to the tune. I kind of learned that whole thing from church, just watching, because you never know which direction in a church service anything would go. You know, and when I was young in church, it was just me and an organist, like not a lot of people, nobody got paid, none of that stuff. We were at church like 4 nights a week, just
Mm-hmm.
us playing, no pay. You know what I mean? Like, and you just never know. You know, some person might sing a song and then they just switch the key. This person, and then it's like, okay, wait, this is the tempo. You got to keep, okay, finish the phrase. Like you just coming in on bar threes. Like you got one more bar. You know, all of that stuff is. Just, but that whole making music out of just not knowing, you know, what's gonna happen. That is a skill that I think I just sort of learned playing in church all the time,
Yeah.
and just fun stuff that I was just checking out. You know, like some um, what's the last word on there was I forget
Moments.
what it was.
Moments.
I think it was moments.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that one, but just some good, you know, like, and the rest was just stuff that I liked, the stuff that I was having fun doing. Those were kind of the ones in between when I would be like deep in an idea and just like, all right, just have fun and just play for a while, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I would just hear like, just play some Prince, you know what I mean? Like play this Prince too, play this, you know, like something like that, like Blackbird, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
like, and now that you know, that there's like Terry Lynn Carrington had a Blackbird that she arranged way back on when she was playing on our Arsenio Hall show way back then, which sort of changed my whole idea about drumming. You know, I mean, it's like wow, this is really not drumming, but just about pop music and drumming, jazz drumming.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but Blackbird is in there, and then it just switches and goes into Feel Like Making Love with So it's just like yeah, man, you know that just like that, and then okay, now let me get back to an idea that I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Well, it's I love how you're describing it because it's giving people an idea of what a drummer slash musician composer at the same time is going through. You know, I've interviewed a lot of people about spontaneous composition. It's
Mm,
similar to what you're doing, but you have more of a theme based thing and you're thinking of it a little differently. And especially from a drummer standpoint, doing a solo drum, recording, some
mm,
people will go in and they'll play, like Ari Honig. He'll play a melody down, play all around it, come back, play the melody again. What you're describing is similar to that, but different because you're using the rhythm. You're using the rhythm as a harmony. You're using the rhythm as a melody. You're not so much concerned about playing tunes down on the drums. You're more thinking organically how you can do that and what's coming through your mind. So it's almost a combination of both, where it's spontaneous composition slash theme based stuff that you're building off of. So
yeah.
this was recorded in 2013. Um, Obviously 7 years ago. So do you practice this regularly, like soloing now? I mean, you've got this recording out from 7 years ago. You must be way past where this was if you've been working on it like this.
Yeah, see, like only a drummer would know that.
Yeah.
Like someone else would be like, "Are you gonna play track two?" It's just like I know. I kind of left that. You know what I mean? I'm not really there in that particular place anymore. But I can still get there. It's just a little. It's a little more matured. You
Yep.
know, like I'm not gonna play because it's the same thing with the tunes. Like you said it like perfectly. It's just like sort of an organic exploration. But the thing is that you want is that what you feel is consistent. Like track two feels differently than track four. It
Yeah.
feels differently. You know, like that's what is sort of delineating tune to tune to tune. It feels differently. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that may be rhythmically or thematically or whatever. Um, but yeah, so it would be a different concert now if I did a solo thing. You know what I'm saying? But I could play those same tunes. It would just probably be expressed a different way.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like the whole point of even doing something like this. I mean, so you grow as a creator. So when you sit down and you're going to do something, it's going to always grow out of what you did 7 years ago. Is going to be different unless you regressed somehow, which I know you didn't. But so I mean, it's always an interesting. It's like it's constantly moving forward, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, yeah.
So so with this recording, we got to tell everybody once again, bandcamp.greenleafmusic.com, PaNOptic, all the music goes to Music Cares. You and I talked before you came on. Your website's being redone, so all the information on Rudy is on greenleafmusic.com right now, and you can check that out. This is your fourth release as a leader, so you have three other ones, and I would encourage everyone to go check those out as well because if you like what you're hearing here, just wait until you hear all of the recordings from Rudy Royston. I'm trying to say two names at one time, and I'm screwing the whole thing up. But anyways, you get the point.
Yeah.
So greenleafmusic.com. And by the way, Dave Douglas, I mean, hats off to him. He's like a world-renowned composer, arranger, trumpet player, and he's running a record label. That's enough to kill somebody just by itself, let alone
Yeah.
doing everything else. So hats off to him. I mean, what a fantastic concept person and the way he's constantly getting the music out as well. And I know you tour and you play with Dave a lot. How's
He
anything
just sent
looking?
me like 5 tunes.
Oh, did he?
Like just now, like
Oh,
about an hour ago, he's like, "Let me send you another tune." I'm like, "Oh God, okay, cool."
so how are you guys? I mean, just on a total side note, I mean, are is anything opening up in New York? Is anything happening, or is anybody able to play anywhere yet? Or I mean, what are you guys doing? Virtual stuff? What's happening on that scene?
Yeah, I mean, it's some stuff is nothing's opened up yet, like where we people can come in and check it out.
Yeah.
Like the Village, the Vanguard has gigs that are virtual. Smalls is having something now, like almost every night, where you can tune in and check it out. The musicians are live, but there's no one in there with them.
Yeah.
Um, and then a lot of outdoors things. Like yesterday, I did an outdoors thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are happening.
Yeah.
Just kind of impromptu sort of things out on the street. A lot of guys are doing that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
you know, the good thing with Smalls, though, Smalls was always set up for that virtual thing. I mean, they always did the in-person thing, but they've built out that pay-per-view platform that they've had, and the free streams too that they used to do. So I mean, you know, that was
yeah.
nice that they were actually set up. I don't was the Vanguard set up for that, or did they have to scramble to kind of put something together? I didn't think they were they?
No, they had to put it together.
Yeah,
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 and it's really good, you know. But yeah, it wasn't. Smalls was just that's what they were doing. It just take the people out, and it's like that's
yeah.
what they always were doing.
Yeah, I know.
It was like yeah, it's super cool. So yeah, I don't even think that ever stopped. I think Rio's doing a lot of stuff at the Jazz Gallery. Rio
Hmm.
Sakari, she's one who runs that, and
Yeah.
she's doing the same kind of thing, where you can tune in and donate like $5 or $10 or whatever,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and then check out the music. Soapbox Gallery, there's a place that's doing. So yeah, it's all that basically.
Yeah.
We
It's
have,
hard.
we haven't had anything with live audience yet.
It's
Inside.
Yeah, right, inside. And to let everybody know, you know, it's also a challenge from a revenue standpoint to be able to pay the guys and ladies that are performing what it would have been if the place was packed and you were doing a live stream. So it's so important for everyone to support as many musicians as possible during this time. If you see something, hit that virtual tip jar, buy a pay per view for $5 or $10. It's going to support the club and to the musicians
Yeah,
because you know, everybody's just trying to stay afloat at this point, trying to get through this whole ordeal. And you
yeah,
know, I mean, you know, Rudy, you know, I'm preaching to the choir when I say this, but this is like the worst industry to be in because our whole goal is to get as many people as possible to enjoy a night of music, a night of at a festival, put elbow to elbow, and everybody dig it. And that's
yeah.
how the revenue streams were set up for the past, you know, 100 years. And this is like the worst industry to be in. And you know, so everybody's trying to make it through. So hopefully everybody can do that. Hit those tip jars, virtual tip jars. Check out those pay-per-views, and of course, head over to
Yeah.
bandcamp.greenleafmusic.com and buy PaNOptic from Rudy Royston. And man,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. We got
Thank
to
you.
do this again when something pops, and hopefully you have something else coming out. And hopefully this doesn't go on too long. We'll get to actually see you back here in Chicago at the Green Mill or a Constellation
Yeah.
or something.
Man, I can't wait. I love Chicago, man.
Oh man. Well, you know, it'll be fun to have live music again anywhere, but let alone in Chicago. It'd be nice to be able to bring the national touring acts back in. So hopefully we'll see
Yeah.
you back here. But hey, congratulations on this entire recording. And you know, as one drummer to another, you know, I know what a deal this is to do a solo drum recording and put it out there. And you know, congratulations, hats off. You're never gonna hear one from Mike Jeffers, so I'll just
You
listen.
never know, man.
I'll
Gonna
just
do it.
listen. All right, man. I appreciate it. Take care, and let's catch up when something else pops. Keep us in mind. We love having you on today.
That sounds great, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rudy.
All
Take
right,
care.
brother.
All right. What a pleasure, man. Talking to Rudy, and I'm telling you, everybody's got to go over check this recording out because it is dynamic. It's very cool, first of all, and it's very creative, and it is not what you think it's going to sound like. So I encourage everyone to go check it out. Plus, it goes for an incredible cause. So that's what's happening here. Wow, it's Monday already. Episode 77. I cannot believe it. We're going to do episode 78 tomorrow. We're going to be rocking and rolling. Tomorrow there's a change. No, it's tomorrow or Wednesday. Well, we're going to put everything up here. I got all discombobulated here. I'm going to get my act together. We'll figure it out. But tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, of course, another Chicago Music Revealed, episode 78 coming at you tomorrow. Man, we're going to hit episode 80 by the end of the week. Can you believe it? So if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, please like it, please share it, please tell everyone you know. Right back here, Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. As I always say, tell your family, tell your neighbors, call the grandkids, Chicago Music Revealed. Have a great afternoon, great evening, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next broadcast.